Look, Rory Sloane hasn't taken long to assert his influence here on the Sunday Footy Show. He has demanded we kick off with Showdown.
Well, it was so good, TJ. It was so good it warrants a Thursday or Friday night clash in my eyes, I think, because everyone loves a rivalry. And we all do. We love rivalries in the game, and I think everyone wants to see this rivalry on free-to-air TV. But it was just a hot contest. Normally I'd say in Showdowns, if you win the contest, you win clearances and tackles, or that tackle number as well, you win the game. Port won the contest and clearances convincingly, but they couldn't quite get it done, and it was because of the Crows' potent forward line. This was an incredible game-saving mark from Mark Keane last night, but the Crows held on late from a power surge.
It was a great game of football, and well done to the Port Power, who were appalling last week in Ballarat, and they bounced back hard. Had a lot of players out, some players I thought that came into the side that potentially would make this a 6 or 7 goal beating, but they just wouldn't go away. Fought back hard late with a better side in the last quarter, but good sides find a way to win, and the Crows are a better side this year.
And I think it's great that we sit here as Victorians, except for Rory, but we love Showdown,
love it,
which says a lot about the national competition. We're not as parochial as some might think. I think, and I agree with you, as Damo does and everyone else, that a Thursday night, Friday night slot would be warranted.
I feel it's the best rivalry by some distance now in the whole AFL system.
Well, it's probably just been consistent, hasn't it? It's lasted a long time. There's been consistently close games and so many big moments, which we touched on last week in the lead-up, where, like Rochelle's incident last year, Houston's bump, they're all these things that keep popping up in Showdowns.
What about Thilthorpe? I can't believe what he does to AFL defenders. He treats them like he's playing, like he's an under-14 playing against the under-12.
He does, doesn't he? I thought he was incredibly stiff not to win the Showdown medal last night. Rosie and Butters was very good, but this man's first half was incredible. And we'll get him on and chat about it a bit later too. But when he gets a run and jump at it, no one's going to stop him, Lordo. He's so big and strong.
I must admit, I don't, because you're a teammate of his, I thought, I'm not sure how good this bloke's going to be, but did you know straight away or not?
I think I said earlier on this show, or classified earlier in the year, that he's going to be one of the best players in the comp this year. I just was that confident in the way he prepares, how big his frame is, and the raw talent he has. Most people don't know, he runs under a 6'10" 2K'er. He's
good aerobically, isn't he?
Yeah, one of our fittest players. He's unbelievable at ground level. The challenge is, do you play him up forward, but he's so good in the ruck too.
He's a beast.
So he is a beast.
6th season as coach for Matthew Nicks, and we can see the progression up the ladder that is now expected in 2025. 6 wins, 3 losses. There's also a 1-point loss to Gold Coast amongst that mix. Are we believing yet, 100%, that they're going to be at the pointy end?
I think, speaking to the boys, they certainly believe. I definitely believe. I think they'll challenge finals. They won't just make it. They'll certainly challenge in that finals campaign. But I've been impressed with their last month. Their first month, leaking a few too many goals. This last month, they've really tightened up their defence and restricting a few sides.
Can I ask you about this? Obviously, there was a big lead-up to this Showdown, specifically centred around Willie Rioli. Would have he been the difference?
Absolutely. I mean, he's a couple of goal difference. He's a 3-goal player per game. And for me, I don't love that this is still lingering around. I can only imagine now the criticisms he's copping online. I think he may even got off Instagram this week. So for me, it's not his fault that he didn't get sanctioned. So I think this could have all been avoided if there was a sanction on Monday. Absolutely. Just come over the top and gone, yep, we want to stamp that sort of thing out of the game. But it feels like it's lingered on too long for me. And, yeah, I now worry about Willie.
And equally, the sanction didn't need to be, on Monday, a match suspension. It just needed to be a strong statement from the AFL, as opposed to the one that they did issue, and that was, we're letting the 2 football clubs work it out. Because that ultimately, to use a phrase that Chris Davies of Port Adelaide used later in the week, that created the pylon of other teams and even media looking behind the scenes on this. And to Rory's point, I agree 100% with Rory, that had the AFL acted on the Monday in a meaningful way, the week wouldn't have unfolded the way it did. And I know there's a care and a sensitivity that's needed to be placed upon the Willie Rioli specific situation, but he was placed ahead of the industry when it came to the disciplinary requirements around what he did. Just to remind people, the threat after the game through social media to a Bulldogs opponent.
Well, I think a non-suspension would not have appeased the footballing public or the football media.
But it would have been more than they did, TJ.
Was a week enough?
The Giants players in pre-season, how they got, there was 4 weeks for, how do they weigh up really Rioli, no suspension, but a young player, 4 weeks? I don't get
what would have you given Willie Rioli?
Well, I think it would have been, it has to be in line with that. It has to be 4 weeks.
And
that might be harsh. But for an example, if I sent a message to someone in our industry and those messages became public, I mean, would I be sitting here next week on this panel as a panel member? I don't know. I don't think I would be. If I was and those messages became public, I just think it deserved a little bit more, and I think it deserved 4 weeks in line with what the Giants players got at the start of the year.
And I think back to Rory's point, I think he's been crying out for help in a bit. I've seen an angry, frustrated Riley all year. So I think maybe this is the point where might be not the worst thing. He's behaved poorly, and I've admitted that, but maybe taking a week out just to reset himself is a good thing.
And he admitted that too, right?
Yeah,
he came out and said, I messed up. But as I've mentioned before, it's not his fault that he didn't get sanctioned. So
But all we want was the AFL to be consistent.
Yeah.
And consistent time after time. And at the moment, they're not consistent. And then that creates the talking points around it.
But now that the sanctions been put in place, everything is out on the table. The priority now is his welfare. So that's what should happen now. And get off social media. I mean, the keyboard cowards do nothing to help in mental health. Welcome back. You are watching the Sunday Footy Show. What about Adelaide Oval last night? A crowd of more than 50,000 turned out for Showdown, and it didn't disappoint, did it?
Just a great game of football, TJ. One of the better games of the year because of the two teams and the way they see each other and the build-up to it. And one of the best men on the ground, and the best two players on the ground, was Riley Thilthorpe, and he's been good enough to join us this morning. And Riley, can you please explain to us what it's like over there at Adelaide? I think many won't understand it. In a two-team town, what it's like to build up. So for you mentally, and then afterwards, what goes into playing in a game like this?
Yeah, it's obviously a pretty big build-up. It sort of divides the state, so it's always interesting the week before. But it's my favourite game of the year, no doubt, barring finals hopefully this year. But there's a lot of energy and it gets pretty heated, which just makes it a lot funner.
What's different about the Adelaide Crows this year to any other year you've been at the club?
Yeah, I reckon we've obviously been pretty young for the last few years, and boys are starting to get experience, get to that 50-game mark and beyond. Obviously the new recruits have been huge. Neil Bullen, Peets, Cummings, they've all been massive in giving us a bit more experience, and they provide a lot for us. And
the way you won last night, you must be ecstatic, where it was just an arm wrestle all night, momentum swings, and then they came hard at the end, but you're able to hold on. Like, is it even more satisfying to win a game like that?
Yeah, it was a great feeling. We've been on the end of a fair few close losses, so to come and win it was very nice. And a couple of blokes stood up late in the game to, with a couple of big moments, so it was really pleasing.
In previous years, if your opposition had 21 more inside 50s than you'd have to say that Adelaide would have been beaten by 8 or 9 goals. You don't want that many inside 50s against you, but you'd have to be happy, and the coach would have to be happy the way your defensive unit is standing up at the moment.
Yeah, I think the backs have done it all year. Was Keeney, they've all been massive. Maxi, all the backs stood up last night, and they were under the pump clearly with 22 more inside 50s, but they stood up really well.
Thorpe, and your season to date's been unbelievable. It's been great to get a clean run at it, but we all had you as best on last night too. Did you feel like you had a ripping game?
They had a pretty good first half, but yeah, I mean, all the boys came to play. We probably didn't play our best, to be fair, but a tough win like that is really pleasing, because we probably haven't done that over the last few years. We needed to be at our best, so it was a very pleasing win.
Rolly, your dedication to fitness and preparing your body to play the position you play, it's renowned in footy already. Can you just take us through the mindset you had last year when you were missing multiple weeks with your knee problem, and how that changed you and how it's made you a better player upon your return?
Yeah, I was really lucky. I had great people around me. Sliney was in rehab, and he's one that I really looked up to, along with Nick Murray, who are two of the hardest workers I've ever seen. So, it was unfortunate, but I definitely wouldn't change a thing. It just let me attack the things that I probably didn't get as much time to, like putting on a bit of size and getting the rest of my body right. So it was definitely a positive in disguise.
Yeah, and mate, the mids last night, it was good to win a little differently, because mids got absolutely cleaned up in clearances, but still managed to scrap out a win. But that'd be something we'd look to absolutely rectify next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Nicky was talking about it last night. Winning in different ways is a sign of a good team. So we just want to win however we can, and the mids will definitely go to work, and I'm sure we'll see a stronger performance against Collingwood this week.
With the start you've had, what are your expectations? Is it top 8? We need to play finals. Is it top 4? Are you good enough to win the flag?
We've skipped along there.
Trying to get a headline out of me. No, we just want to play consistent footy, and we've won 2 in a row now, so we want to make that 3 in a very exciting game against Collingwood this week, who are probably the informed team in the comp.
Come on, give him a headline. Are you good enough to be top 4?
We're definitely pushing for it. We'll see how we go.
Hey, Riley, I'm fascinated by you and your story and the colossus and the beast that you've become. You know, as I said, you're one of the best forwards in the game now, and that's something that not many will go through and say that about themselves through a season. But the decisions you made, the heartbreak through your knee injury, and then the work you've done to get to this point.
High praise.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm just trying to play my role, and I haven't played a full season in my career yet, so that's definitely the goal. And to play consistently, I just want my teammates to be able to rely on me and play my role and hopefully win a few more games.
You mentioned Josh Worrell a moment ago as part of the backline mix. What he's doing this year is quite extraordinary in the context of probably where he's come from and what your club needs him to do, isn't it? He was very good again last night.
Yeah, he was unbelievable. I reckon he's been building for a couple of years now. He had a really good year last year. Just got injured a couple of times, but he's just a bloke you love playing with. He does everything. He does the flashy marks and he's got a great left foot, but he also does the chase downs and the big smothers. So we all love playing with Woz.
Riley, just before we get the vote, sorry mate, I just wanted, the beard has become as much of you as your game itself. I know you shaved it off last year for the McGrath Foundation, I think it was, which I think, correct me if I'm wrong, in honour of your auntie, who waged a long battle with cancer. Will we see it come off again for a cause like that?
That was the plan, but it's getting tougher and tougher to get rid of it, to be honest. It's become more of my identity. But yeah, that's definitely the plan, I reckon. We'll look at that sort of mid-year and a bit later and see what we can do.
All right, good man.
The votes last night, TJ, Connor Rozee, outstanding in a losing side off half-back. He gets the 9. Riley gets the 8. I thought Zach Butters was brilliant for Port Adelaide as well. And that man Damo just touched on Josh Worrell, was in the votes again.
Best prize pack in the business coming up on the Sunday Footy Show. A family pass to Gumbaya World where water slides, thrill rides and wildlife collide. Just be careful of the quackers out there.
They bite.
A Het Fit membership, combined body weight and boxing for a full body workout. I think you're looking pretty good at the moment, but Het Fit membership, you'll be the best dressed on the golf course thanks to Clutch & Co. And we'll kit you out in Catstar Brad Close's clothing band. Be Close, your swing, your style, and a box of Chrome Tour golf balls and a cap thanks to Callaway, and another 2 hats courtesy of Travis Matthew. Bar Fridges Australia are back for all your beer and wine cooling needs. Bar Fridges Australia is your one-stop shop. A pair of Aquillas, they are the best in the business. Premium footwear since 1958. Treat yourself to a batch of Daniel's Donuts. Book a delivery online today. TJ loves a free meal, so we'll give you one when you're in Melbourne. Platform 28, the best pub in the Docklands. A pair of Rick's eyewear that inspires confidence and elevate your wardrobe with the latest streetwear style from St. Goliath.
Rory will bring all that back for you, mate, on the flight home. So
Won't fit the shoes in my luggage, TJ. He's got too big of feet. So
what size?
What size? 15, 16?
Yeah, 15, 16.
You know what they say about big feet, TJ?
Yeah,
big socks, mate.
Okay, all right, Rory, thank you. Right up there with you, kangaroo revelation. Hey, Riley, great to see you, mate. Thanks very much for coming on the program. You're welcome anytime.
No worries, guys. Thanks a lot.
All right, thank you. All right, you are watching the Sunday Footy Show. We'll be back with more in just a moment. Rory.